Hi, it's Miss Hartley again at Easley Elementary, coming at you with First Chapter Friday again. Today I have Ghost by Jason Reynolds. This came out a couple years ago. It's a wonderful book, especially for those of us that love sports, but for anyone that loves realistic fiction as well. So it is a great story. It's about a boy who is having a really hard time in life, but he discovers how amazing it can be to become part of a team and really get to know yourself better than you thought that you did. It definitely has some sad moments, so be ready for that, but it also has some wonderful moments too. So here's the first chapter. Check this out. This dude named Andrew Dahl holds the world record for blowing up the most balloons with his nose. Yeah, that's true. Not sure how he found out that was some kind of special talent, and I can't even imagine how much snot there's going to be in those balloons, but hey, it's a thing, and Andrew is the best at it. There's also this lady named Charlotte Lee who holds the record for owning the most rubber ducks. No lie. Here's what's weird about that. Why would you even want one rubber duck, let alone 5,631? I mean, come on. And me, well, I probably hold the world records for knowing the most about world records. That and probably eating the most sunflower seeds. Let me guess, sunflower seeds. Mr. Charles practically shouts from beyond the counter of what he calls his country store, even though we live in a city. Mr. Charles, who, by the way, looks just like James Brown if James Brown were white, had been ringing me up for sunflower seeds 5 days a week for about, since 4th grade, which was when Ma took the hospital job, so for about 3 years now. He's also hard of hearing, which when my mom used to say this, I always thought that she was saying harder hearing, which made no sense to me at all. I don't know why she didn't say almost deaf. Maybe because hard of hearing is more like hospital talk, which is probably rubbing off on her. But yeah, Mr. Charles can barely hear a thing, which is why he's always yelling at everybody and everybody's yelling at him. His store is a straight-up scream fest, not to mention the extra sound effects from the loud TV that he keeps behind the counter. Cowboy movies on repeat. Mr. Charles is also the guy who gave me his book, Guinness World Records, which is where I found out about Andrew Dahl and Charlotte Lee. He tells me that I can set a record one day, a real record. Be one of the world's greatest somethings. Maybe. But I know one thing. Mr. Charles has got to hold the record for saying, let me guess, sunflower seeds, because he says it every single time I come in, which means that I probably also hold the record for responding loudly in the exact same way. Let me guess, $1. That's my comeback. I've said it a gazillion times. Then I slap a buck into the palm of his wrinkly hand, and he puts the seeds in mine. After that, I continue on my slow motion journey, pausing again only when I get to the bus stop. But this bus stop ain't just any bus stop. It's the one that's directly across the street from the gym. I just sit there with the other people waiting for the bus, except I'm never actually waiting for it. The bus gets you home fast, and you see, I don't want that. I just want to go there and look at the people working out. You see, the gym across the street has this big window, like the whole wall is a window. And they have these machines that make you feel like you're walking up steps. So everybody just be facing the bus stop, looking all crazy like they're about to pass out. And trust me, there ain't nothing funnier than that. So I checked that out for a little while like it's some kind of movie. It's the About to Pass Out show, starring stair-stepper person numbers 1 through 10. I know this all sounds kind of weird and maybe even a little bit creepy, but it's something to do when you're bored. Best part about sitting there is tearing into my sunflower seeds like they're movie theater popcorn. About the sunflower seeds. I used to put just a whole bunch of them in my mouth at the same time, suck the salt off, and then spit them out, machine gun style. I could have set a world record in that too, but now I've matured. Now I take my time. I move them around, positioning them for the perfect bite to pop open the shell, and then carefully separate the seed from it with my tongue, and then, this is the hard part, keeping that little seed safe in the place between my teeth and my tongue, I spit the shells out. Finally, after all that, I chew the seed up. I'm like a master at it. Even though, honestly, sunflower seeds don't taste like nothing. I'm not really sure they're worth all the hassle, but I like the process anyway. My dad used to eat sunflower seeds too. That's where I get it from. But he used to chew the whole thing up, the shells, the seeds, everything, just devour them like some kind of beast. When I was really young, I used to ask him if a sunflower was going to grow inside of him because he ate the seeds so much. He was always watching some kind of game like football or basketball, and he'd turn to me for just a second, just long enough not to miss a play, and say, "Sunflowers are all up in me, kid." Then he'd shake the seeds in his palm like dice before throwing another bunch in his grill to chomp down on. But let me tell you, my dad was lying. Wasn't no sunflowers growing in him. Couldn't have been. I don't know a whole lot about sunflowers, but I know that they're pretty and girls like them, and I know the word sunflower is made up of two good words, and that man, he ain't got two good words in him or anything that a girl would like, because girls don't like men who try and shoot them and their son, and that's the kind of man he was. It was 3 years ago when my dad lost it, when the liquor made him meaner than he had ever been. Every other night he would become a different person, like he'd morph into someone crazy. But this one night, my mother decided to finally fight back. But this one night, everything went worse. I had my head sandwiched between the mattress and the pillow, something I had got used to doing whenever they were going at it, and my mom crashed into my bedroom. "We gotta go," she said, yanking the covers off the bed. When I didn't move fast enough, she yelled, "Come on!" The next thing I knew, she was dragging me down the hallway, my feet tripping over themselves. And that's when I looked back and saw him, my dad, staggering from the bedroom, his lips bloody and a pistol in his hand. "Don't make me do this, Terry," he angrily begged, but me and my mom kept rolling. The sound of the gun cocking, the sound of the door unlocking, and as soon as she swung the door open, my dad fired a shot. He was shooting at us. My dad was actually shooting at us, his wife and his boy. I didn't look to see what he hit, mostly because I was scared that it was going to be me or Ma. The sound was big, and it was sharp enough to make me feel like my brain was going to pop in my head, even though it made my heart want to hiccup. The craziest thing was, I felt like the shot, the loudest sound I'd ever heard, made my legs move even faster. I don't know if that's possible, but that's definitely what it seemed like. My mom and I kept running, down the staircase into the street and breaking into the darkness with death chasing behind us. We ran and ran and ran, until finally we came upon Mr. Charles's store, which luckily for us stays open 24/7. Mr. Charles took one look at me and my mom, out of breath, crying, barefoot in our pajamas, and he hid us in his storage room while he called the cops, and we stayed there all night. I haven't seen my dad since. Ma said that the cops said when they got to the house, he was just sitting outside on the steps, shirtless, with a pistol sitting behind me, guzzling beer, eating sunflower seeds, waiting. Like he just wanted to get caught, like it was no big deal. They gave him 10 years in prison, and to be honest, I don't know if I'm happy about that or not. Sometimes I wish he had gotten forever in jail. Other times I wish he was home on the couch watching the game, shaking the sunflower seeds in his hand. Either way, one thing is for sure, that was the night I learned how to run. So when I was done sitting at the bus stop in front of the gym, and I came across all those kids on the track and those inside the park practicing, I had to see what was going on, because running, that ain't nothing I ever had to practice. It is just something I know how to do. So that's a sad start to our book, Ghost by Jason Reynolds, but if you continue reading, you will find out what happens to him and his family and how he grows and becomes part of the team. Thanks.